A couple of years ago, when I was still living in a big city, I made a new friend. A guy that I was very fond of, a great thinker, a great communicator with a lot of charm, and we basically hit it off right from the start. From the very get-go, I felt like this was someone that I could look up to. Even though we were roughly the same age, I felt like he had a ton of experience, and at a very young age, he had already accomplished a lot. So this was someone that I immediately felt drawn to, someone that I wanted to invest time and energy in. We seemed to have a lot in common, both very much in touch with our spirituality, both very eager to constantly evolve, learn about life, and discuss concepts like ego, the male persona, how we are supposed to handle certain things in certain situations. So we always had amazing conversations. Now, as the friendship developed, he would bring me around his friends, family, people that were close to him, so I also got to know them. Anytime that we would hang out together, all of us, it would be great. The vibe and energy would be top notch, and it would be very pleasant. Then time would pass, and I would notice that certain people whom I had been introduced to before would no longer be around. So then, when I would inquire about this with him and ask him, what happened to such and such, he would explain to me that there had been a conflict of some sort. So we would also discuss this, and he would mention that person A, B, or C turned out to be a negative influence in his life. He would often reference people as toxic and, like I said, having a negative influence on him and his goal to constantly evolve and become a better person. So naturally, me being his friend and me liking him a lot, I would always assume that he was in the right. I never questioned him, and I never ever stopped to think about what the other side of the story would look like. So this one time, we were having dinner, and he brought up the fact that he recently had a very big argument with one of his closest family members. So he was going on about how that certain person had done certain actions that were hard for him to just ignore. So he told me that he had basically cut all lines of communication with that person. Now, one thing that I remember thinking was a little bit weird was he specifically mentioned that the person that he had a conflict with at one point communicated to him through a series of instant messages. And I remember him saying, he sent me a bunch of messages trying to explain himself, but I didn't even read it. I just deleted the conversation and blocked him. And even though in the moment, I agreed because I always figured that he was a good man, a righteous man, and he knew what he was doing, I remember thinking that it was a little bit odd that you wouldn't want to even hear that person out, especially since that person appeared to be, very close to him. I remember thinking it would be very hard for me to just, not even read someone's perspective, not even want to know anything about how they feel. Now, as our friendship progressed and as I spent more and more time with him, I started noticing that him cutting people off and removing people from his life became a reoccurring topic. And even at this point, I never stopped to think that maybe it was him. He was such a charming, intelligent, well-spoken man that I always assumed that, of course, he's in the right. Like, how could he not be in the right? Like, I'm talking to him, I'm looking at him, I can feel the type of person he is. So I also just assumed that all of these people that he was cutting off were toxic. And it is that exact word that I want to talk about more right now. Toxic. One of the most trendy words of this decade. Together with anxiety, toxic has become this free-for-all label that we love to put on any and everything that does not agree with us or might have a different way of life or thinking than us. We are so quick to label people toxic, label things toxic. Ooh, that's toxic, he's toxic, she's toxic. Remove them! Remove! Cut them out like a tumor. They are poisoning the well. They're poisoning your mind. They're toxic. Get rid of them, right? Cool. All right, let's get rid of all the toxic people. Just remember one thing. Maybe one day, before you know it, you will find yourself being on the toxic side. You will find yourself being labeled the toxic person. Do you think anyone ever wakes up and goes, I'm about to have me a nice toxic day? Nope. We're so quick to label people toxic, but we never look at ourselves. So now back to the story. So one day, I'm on my way to the bar to go and have some drinks with some friends. So I remember, hey, maybe my friend would like to join us too. So I sent him a message inviting him to come. What happened next absolutely blew my mind. When I went to check my phone for his reply a couple of minutes later, I saw this huge text message on WhatsApp. Literally like this long. So my first instinct was, holy shit, who died? What happened? What's going on? So I immediately went on to read it. I couldn't believe my eyes. Out of nowhere, out of the blue, he had put together a message in which he basically told me, look, Lorenz, here's the deal. I feel like you have grown to become a very negative influence on me. There were certain instances where I felt like you disrespected me. You were very rude to me. You made me feel ugly. You made me feel small. And this has brought me to the conclusion that we can no longer be friends. And I truly hope that one day you can see your flaws. You can learn from this and evolve. But I won't be there to see it because I can't go on being your friend in this way. I was absolutely stunned. I couldn't believe it. It felt like somebody had drop kicked me in the gut. What was he talking about? I immediately went to reply and started typing when I noticed that he had already blocked me on WhatsApp. He wouldn't even give me the opportunity to reply, to explain myself, to ask for more information. The exact same way how he had never given anyone else that came before me the opportunity to reply. The exact same way how he once shared with me how he just immediately deleted the replies of that family member that he was fighting with. From one day to another, without any warning, I had ended up in his toxic group. I had been confined to go to toxic jail, be sent off, and to be never heard from again, and to never be able to enter his social circle again. Now at first, I was incredibly confused, frustrated, angry. I had a cocktail of negative emotions, trying to figure out what the hell had just happened. But then, as I thought about it more and more, I slowly started remembering all of those people before me that had been removed. And I understood that I had become the latest toxic person. I was being discussed in his social circle as that toxic guy that was up to no good and that had to be removed. Never in a million years could I have thought that that label would be placed on me. But it had. And in his eyes, and in his social circle's eyes, I'm the toxic guy. I'm the negative guy. I'm the bad guy. The point of this video is that you should always look at how people treat their friends, treat their relatives. One day, it can and it will be you. So don't be so quick to jump on that bandwagon and condemn others for negative and toxic behavior when you don't have all the information, especially when you have not spoken to that other person and have heard their side of the story. It might turn out to sound a hell of a lot different than what your friend told you. I hope you guys can learn from this video and take away something from it to apply in your own life. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, and share this video on your social media. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and join the channel. We're gonna have a great time. As always, thank you so much for watching. It's your boy Benzo, checking out.